Hey Clashers, sadly we have a really big balance issue right now in Clash of Clans, but I know as well that the community really dislikes when Supercell is nerfing equipment. So I thought, is there a way around it? And I think there is, and that is with reworking the Spring Trap. While I'm explaining to you what exactly I would change about this Springtrap, I will show you a couple of my new attack strategy in the background, which is like a fusion, a hybrid between a Warden Charge with Furnace and as well as with Rocket Loot. It's kind of like we bring both of the best of both worlds together, and it's a lot of fun. Don't worry, I will make a dedicated video for that really soon as well, so you know how exactly to play this. But let's get back to the Springtrap, or let's start things off with what exactly is wrong with the current meta and the current balance. First off, one equipment is outperforming every other equipment out there, and that is the Electro Boots. But how do we change the Electro Boots without touching the Electro Boots? Well, the biggest issue here is that Electro Boots give not much counterplay to the other side, to the defender. Which means if you're keeping your Royal Champion invisible, you can take down half the base when it comes down to defenses quite easily. It is just crazy how much value you can get. While on the other side, yes, you can deploy like giant bombs to maybe take down the Fox early, but you pretty much have to commit every single trap in the game to make that work. And then on top of that, you can use maybe Tesla to redirect the Royal Champion. But hey, most of those good players will just pop an invis and redirect the Royal Champion on their own. So the counterplay is really limited, so I would just even call it that versus good players, it is nearly no counterplay existing. And there is another thing in the game which leaves no counterplay, but for the other side, and that is the Spring Trap. The Spring Trap, you can clap in your hands, turn around in your chair, use the freeze, warden ability, and invis, everything at the same time. The Spring Trap will hit your troops, and if you're using Hawk Rides and things like that, that will get springed off the entire map. There is no counterplay. Like, what is that all about? Imagine air attackers, if there would be an air spring trap and people are losing their dragons like crazy without nothing they can do about it. Or Root Riders, Super Yetis, things like that would just fly off the map. That is just so unrewarding. And again, there is no counterplay. So with reworking this spring trap, you would fix not just the Electro Boots, but as well that issue on top. On top of that, we have another balance issue, and that is tanky troops with healers behind. A lot of people are always pointing towards Root Riders because they're not just tanky, but as well opening compartments. But let's be honest, Titans, Super Yetis, Super Witches are all in the same boat. They have a ton of hit points, and with healers behind, they're pretty much becoming invincible. So those are the biggest issues right now, in my opinion, when it comes down to the balance. Reworking this Spring Trap, what exactly would I change? I would pretty much turn the Spring Trap into a ground version of the Black Mine, but with a way lower radius. It is pretty much like a ground mine. When you're stepping on top of it, you're going to take damage. The important difference now, though, is between this reworked Spring Trap and, for example, a giant bomb or a small bomb, it's no splash damage. It is a single target trap. Which means, let's just imagine those numbers are now randomly thrown in there. On troops, it's dealing 1,500 damage, while on heroes, for example, 750 damage. Which means, if you have your pushes of Titans, Root Riders, whatever you're using, you can still take damage now from this trap while not just ignoring Spring Traps. So, you take damage, obviously it's not like, okay, this troop is gone right away. It is only 1,500 damage. While Root Riders have, for example, 6,000 hit points, or Super Yetis even 7,000, those hit points can make them weaker, but not just kill them as a strategy. And that is always the key. When changes are happening, they should not kill a strategy, they should make it weaker if it's too strong. And that is exactly what we have the case with those three mentioned things. But how does it change now the Royal Champion charge? Well, as I said earlier, the Royal Champion charge right now, you can make it harder with committing pretty much every single trap versus an entry. But with Royal Champion charge, you can pretty much pick any side, if we're completely honest. So, guessing the right entry is really random. On top of that, you have committed every single trap in existence to bait that one entry. So, with Spring Traps now doing single target damage, and roughly, again, this number is just randomly for me, 750 damage, if you're hitting 2 to 3 of those reworked mines now onto the Royal Champion, she's losing a ton of hit points and really making her struggle to stay alive. So there is counterplay now. And you have to think twice if you're actually using a Royal Champion charge into an area which you cannot scout before. As well, don't worry, for all of those tank troops, you can still use the barrel siege, for example, to trigger those traps, everything. There is counterplay, and that is always the key aspect which I'm trying to highlight so much. I love counterplay on both sides, attack and defense. As soon as there is no counterplay, this entire game makes no sense. Like, what is the point then even? So this is why I would change this. As well, now, a lot of you might just wonder, iTzu, why did you do this video? Well, first off, content creator videos are not about reaching Supercell. We have contact to Supercell, like in the background, everything. And I've already suggested this idea to Supercell. What I want to do is mostly get your feedback. What do you think about this? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think, oh, that actually sounds quite nice? Like, we could really like think about that. And with there being so many different interactions, I want just to see if you're finding interaction which would make it like, which would like benefit this change even more or even less, and make it like, oh no, you have not really thought about this option. Don't do it. It would be a bad idea. This is the main purpose of this video. As well, the numbers which I've mentioned, like heroes take 750 and troops take 1500 damage, for example, are just randomly thrown in there. Let me know what you think about that. But remember, there's as well other things, whereas the difference between troops and heroes. The reason why the damage to heroes is really way lower is because I don't want to kill other strategies like warden charges, for example. This would be not a good thing. As well, the trigger radius. I think the trigger radius should pretty much still be the same as the spring trap, which means it's really small. So if you're not good at predicting where exactly the troops are going, then it should not hit. It should not be an unforgiving thing like the Black Mine, where you just have to get close and you would deal the damage. That would be really not optimal. I think that would not really serve the purpose. But I think this would really fix the three big issues. Spring traps completely killing and pretty much making things like Hawk Rider or even miners super risky to use and way too unreliable if you're running into springs, so pretty much it's GG and there is no counterplay. At the same time, it would make, it would create counterplay for using the Royal Champion charge or actually defending against that. And the third thing is then it would nerf tanky troops like Root Riders and would allow people to have counterplay against them because you could try to burst them out with those traps, while at the same time the attacker has the option to like have scout troops like giants, for example, in front of those Root Riders to really trigger the traps nice and early. So again, counterplay. This is always what I'm going for, making sure that it's fair for both sides. I know people might think, okay, iTzu, you're just saying like you want to have the game harder. No, this is not the purpose. I would not mind if everything else is getting pushed to the same level as what like the outliers we have right now. But if there's a couple of things in the game like the Royal Champion charge, and you feel bad if you don't use it because you're literally like making your attack weaker intentionally, it just feels so bad. It would be just really, really sad. So again, this video is all about getting feedback from you guys and what you think about this suggestion, because I think it is the perfect solution between not having to interact with the equipments again, because I know people hate it. I'm reading the comments. And I'm trying to think of stuff on how we can avoid this really unfun situation for everyone. But at the same time, trying to go for a balanced game. Because with a balanced game, I mean, things are evenly strong. If this strong level is up here or down here, whatever, that's not on me to decide. That's not on me, and I don't want to have that decision whatsoever. But everything should be roughly on the same line. Obviously, there's always small outliers, but not like crazy. And this is really the purpose, what I'm going for. Otherwise, that's it. I mean, I already shared with you my concept. Let me know what you think about it. And we're having one more pro match tomorrow. And then we're going back to like regular videos from me with like some strategy guides and such. And the month is already nearly over, right? So the calendar and like the preview of the next month is already around the corner and such. So, well, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next class video. Until then, see ya, and bye-bye.